Hello, and welcome back to the Feminine Rising podcast. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Amber Moreno. Thank you for listening or watching. You can listen or watch over on Spotify. Also available over on YouTube. Wherever you're listening to this, welcome. So today's topic is kind of an interesting one. Today we're going to be talking about cleansing your energy. And I thought, why not? Let's go ahead and talk about it. I think when people hear that, they think that they don't have the ability to cleanse their own energy for some reason. Like it's this big secret and only certain people can do it and you need to be attuned to do it. It's not true. It is not true at all. You can do it. Literally, you can do it right now or after this podcast. Um, it's really easy to do, actually. You need to be in a meditative and grounded state. So if that's something that you don't know how to do, I recommend you look into that. Um, I'm actually going to be offering a free meditation for this as well. It might be out at the time of this podcast, might not. Don't quote me on that, but it will be available within the next week or so. And when you get into a meditative state, you're basically setting the foundation that you are opening your channel. And when I talk about the channel, I'm talking about chakra system. There's a light column that lives within our body. This light column is also the same light column that has access into the human design elements of us, our chakra system, the whole shebang. But what we do when we open that is we want to really ground in. We want to ground into the earth. And this is why it is important to commune with the plants and the earth. I love sitting here to do my podcast, which is why I've been in here the past couple of times, is because I love all of my plants that are here. I do my best to take care of them. They let me know when I'm doing a shitty job. Lately, we've been good. So, but when we connect with the plants, we're really connecting back to who that we are. And so it's really important that we have a grounding practice. So, a good grounding practice, which I will have another meditation for this as well. And that one I will try to link into the show notes here. But in this grounding practice, you want to try and get outside if you can when you do it. You can put your feet in the ground. If you can't put your feet in the ground for whatever reason, concrete jungles are real. You can at least get outside, get into the sun or the moon, whatever energy you have available to you. And when you do this, I really want you to just focus in on imagining a root system coming out from either your root chakra, so penis, vagina, butthole, gooch, whatever, thigh area, tailbone, or your feet, or all of it. So if whatever part of my body is making contact with the floor in that moment, that's what I imagine roots coming out. So I always describe myself as kind of like poison ivy sitting rooted down in. Like that's what I imagine myself. So I'm like a tree base, essentially. I don't know how else to explain it. So now that we are in this state, right, we're grounded, we're rooted, we want to connect to the sun or the moon. And when we do that, we establish a cylindrical, no, cyclical, there we go, cyclical energy loop, which is what we want, because now we are utilizing as above, so below, as within, as without. Okay. And now we can do energy clearing. And this is the easy part. So before I do any type of energy clearing, I've talked about this on a previous podcast. We do not raw dog when we do things like this. Okay. We need to put up a hedge of protection. So you need to have some kind of shield, which is why I made these other meditations available. So that way we know. So hedge of protection is needed. I have a separate meditation for that, but that's not what I'm talking about today. This one you have to put on every single time. So I use the sun energy or the moon energy, depending on the time of day and what's available in my sky. Sometimes they're both there, but I go with whoever's illuminate. So if it's daytime, I go with the sun. You can use ally energy. If you want to pull from there, you can pull from the air energy, wherever you feel comfortable pulling from. to create a golden light over your body that protects and shields you. It could be platinum, white, gold. It needs to be some kind of higher consciousness color. I wouldn't go any lower than indigo. Now, what I do, not everybody does this, everyone kind of does their own thing, is I call into the violet flame or I call into the sun's rays. This is why I like to work with El Sol more, because when you utilize the sun rays, they're very, very hot and they can diminish anything really fast. That's the beauty of it. It's like a fast reflector. At night is usually when I really call in the violet flame, and the violet flame is this really hot burning, similar to the sun energy that will take whatever you release into it and alchemize it. So whatever you throw it there, it could be the ugliest of the ugliest deity, or not deity, entity, dark entity. There's no deities that are evil, just so you know. Oh, excuse me. This is why you don't eat before you do these. Oh, excuse me. But sorry. Um, deities pulling into the energy. Oh, you can throw whatever, dark entity into that violet flame and it will get it out of there very, very quickly. So you want to picture something like that around you, surrounding you. And then this is where the energy clearing now can proceed. How that looks is all on you. Maybe you're someone that you work a lot with your hands. You're going to want to be doing energy work, pulling things out, sending it out. Breathing is a good way. I always breathe with it anyway. Moving, shaking, dancing. Maybe that's the thing that you like to do. Sacred rage is another way to do that as well. But you really want to cleanse yourself. You can even do this in the shower and like do all of this before you get in the shower or while you're in the shower. And then imagine the water rinsing away all these fragments and things that are left off of the day. This is why I usually shower at night versus the morning, because I'm literally releasing everything from that day. So when I go to sleep, I feel rejuvenated and there's nothing attached to me. And then once you're done with that process, whatever that looks like, however long that is, you can say a prayer if you want, but I usually just thank, guides, ancestors, anything that I called in. Thanks to the sun to leave that shield over me. And I close out and I'm good to go. And I think the importance of doing this is to remember that we pick up a lot of things. So I live in Arizona. It's very, very dusty here. It doesn't matter what part of the state you go to. In the summer, you go outside, you come back in, your hair smells like dirt. It's just dusty. So that's kind of how I see these negative energies. So like if you're someone that like you go out a lot, like you have to leave your house to go to work or you go to the grocery store, friend's house, whatever, you're going to pick up energy from that individual. Projector, not projector, doesn't matter what your energy type is. You just will. And so, how are you cleansing that off at the end of the day, or are you keeping it on at night? So, for me, like, do I want to keep that dust that's all stuck to me in my bed, or do I want to rinse it off and then now there's a clean bed with just my skin in it? You know what I mean? So, that's the whole point of kind of going over this little energy clearing, because everyone can energy clear. Energy healing, however, is a little bit different. And that's something that my husband actually does really well. And I'm not talking about that today. We're only talking about energy clearing because everyone can do this. It's really easy. I just described it to you. It doesn't have to look fancy. You don't have to bust out an altar. I mean, you can if you want. I always encourage that you have a prayer room or a war room, whatever you want to call it, medicine room, womb room, whatever. I call it the womb room now, but the ceremony area, wherever it is that you go to seek peace and quiet, right? Your stupa. That is where you ultimately want to try and do a lot of this practice there. But you don't have to have it, is my whole point. Like you can do this anywhere. If you do it outside, the only thing I will say is make sure you shield prior to connecting with the sun. And the reason for that is because when you're outside, there's a lot of different energies floating around, especially if you live by an airport, that you don't necessarily want to bring attraction to. Because at the end of the day, when we're playing with energy, and I feel this isn't talked about enough, is that we're actually playing with these actual things that do exist. They're called um, neutrons, I think is how you say it, and they live within the neutronic field. And within there, they exist right now. I can't see them because they're we can't see them with the human eye, but they're there. They're these little energy molecules that exist. I can see them when I'm outside in the sky because they spray so much things in the sky. I can see them bouncing, but I can't see them normally. And normally you can't, but you're playing with those like it's a real thing. So this is why it's important to utilize those to create like these, like almost like a little house over you and a shield when you are outside. And so then that way, the only light that you're allowing in is that sun. You're not allowing in any other type of frequency. The sun has its own frequency, light has the frequency, right? Light and sound. um and you're just getting that pure sun, get that pure protection, that pure energy that you want to work with to utilize to clean, versus again picking up everything you possibly can outside. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully this helped you. Hopefully this kind of gave you an idea of like why it is important to shield and protect and do energy cleansing. And again, check the show notes for those meditations. Don't quote me on if the meditations will be available after this podcast, but they will be available around the time that this is released. So have a beautiful day, and I'll see you when I see you.